Hello everyone, it's Twitter Mifzal here, and today we are going to discuss about the difference between passive transport and active transport. But before we do that, do follow me on my Facebook and Instagram account at Twitter Mifzal, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All links are in the description box below. Alright, so now let's begin. The first thing that we are going to do is that I am going to define for you the meaning of concentration gradient. And in order for us to truly fathom this concept, let me just depict you some illustrations. So over here we have solutes. It can be any solutes. Let's say we use this as sodium solutes or water solutes. Alright, and this is region A, meaning region A. And here we have region B, which has only 3 solutes. So what we can define as concentration gradient is basically the difference of concentration between the two regions, meaning that in region A there is more solute. There are more solutes compared to region B, and therefore the difference of region A and region B is high. Diffusion will occur from region A to region B, because diffusion is the random movement of particles or substance from a region of higher concentration region to a lower concentration region. So from here we can define concentration gradient as the difference in concentration between two regions. Next, we are going to define passive transport and also active transport. The first thing that we are going to define is that we are going to define passive transport. So the definition of passive transport is the movement of substances across the plasma membrane along the concentration gradient from a region of higher concentration region to a lower concentration region without the use of energy. So if I were to depict this in an illustration, what I would do is that I would draw a slope. So this is my slope, and I would draw a ball. So what I'll do is that I'll put the ball on top of this slope over here, and based on my experience and observations, the ball will roll down to the ground because the ball is pulled by the gravitational pull, so it moves downwards to the ground. Alright, so this is how we would define passive transport, meaning that we do not need to use any energy for the transport to occur, meaning that inside our plasma membrane, so I'll just draw our plasma membrane. So let's say over here we have water molecules passing, or we have oxygen molecules over here. So here we have a high concentration of oxygen gas, and here we have a low concentration of oxygen gas. What happens is that we know that the concentration gradient over here, there is a concentration gradient, meaning that there is difference in the concentration of oxygen gas over here. So here we would name it as high concentration, and here we have low concentration region. What will happen is that the oxygen molecule will pass through the plasma membrane without the use of energy, just similarly like the ball over here, like this situation over here. So it will move down or along the concentration gradient without the need of energy through diffusion. So that is passive transport. And passive transport, there are 3 types of passive transport. First, we have the simple diffusion. Secondly, we have osmosis. And the third one, we have facilitated diffusion. Perhaps I would do an individual video for each and every one of these transport, the simple diffusion, osmosis and facilitated diffusion, probably in another video. So now let's dive into active transport. So the definition of active transport is the movement of substance across the plasma membrane against the concentration gradient from a region of lower concentration region to a higher concentration region with the use of energy. Meaning that if I would draw the same slope and the same ball, meaning that this is in a position of higher concentration region to a lower concentration region. But in the case of active transport, it is from the lower concentration region to a higher concentration region. Let's say if you want to move this ball again to the top of the slope, then you would need to push it, and when you push it, you add energy into it, right? It's against the concentration gradient. That is when the energy is important for active transport to happen, meaning that you have to push the ball in order for it to roll upwards to the top position. Let's say if I draw the phospholipid bilayer again, and usually active transport requires a carrier protein, meaning that it is facilitated by other proteins. It cannot happen through the phospholipid bilayer itself. So I'll draw the phospholipid bilayer and also a carrier protein. So this, for example, is a sodium potassium pump, which I drew over here, and this is a carrier protein. So active transport requires energy, therefore energy is used in the form of ATP, hence so that the sodium ions can move outwards, meaning that the sodium ions over here, there's probably only little sodium ions, but at the outside of the cell there might be plenty of sodium ions. And see, the movement that we did over here is against the concentration gradient, meaning that the substance that moves across the plasma membrane is from a lower concentration region to a higher concentration region. Alright, it is similar to this structure over here, to this slope over here. So now we can conclude that active transport is something that requires energy, and it requires a carrier protein, or it is facilitated, and the next thing that it needs is that against the concentration gradient. Now what we are going to learn is that we are going to look at the difference of the passive transport and active transport. So the first thing that comes into our mind is that first difference between active transport and passive transport is the use of energy, meaning that passive transport does not require the use of energy compared to active transport. Secondly, the movement of substance in passive transport is along the concentration gradient compared to active transport, which is against the concentration gradient. So those are the two differences between passive transport and active transport. So those are the two differences that determines or that differentiates passive transport and active transport. I hope that this video is beneficial for you and for your upcoming examinations. So that's about it for today. I hope that you enjoy this video. But before we end, do follow me on my Facebook and Instagram account at Tutor Mifzal. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe this YouTube channel. So that's all for today. See you soon. Bye.